Commander Alice Wright stood alone at the observation deck of the rescue vessel, her eyes fixed on the destruction below. Colony Outpost Epsilon was gone. Where a thriving human settlement once stood, only smoking ruins remained. The buildings were now twisted metal, the fields of crops burned black, the streets empty of all life. She clenched her fists until her knuckles turned white. 20 years in Earth's defense force had hardened her, but nothing could prepare anyone for this. 3,000 colonists, scientists, farmers, children, all gone in what survivors described as less than an hour of horror. "Commander, we found another one." The voice of her second-in-command, Lieutenant Frank Miller, crackled through her comm unit. "Alive?" she asked, though she already knew the answer would be like all the others. "Barely. Med team is working on him now." Alice took one last look at the destroyed colony before turning away. The hallways of the rescue ship hummed with activity as medical personnel rushed past. They had arrived 12 hours after receiving the distress signal, 12 hours too late for most. In the medical bay, a young man lay on a treatment table. His uniform, though torn and bloody, identified him as a communications officer. The name badge read, Peterson S. "Sam Peterson," the doctor said quietly. "Communications specialist, second class. He was in a sealed maintenance shaft when they hit. Only reason he's alive." Alice approached the table. Sam's eyes fluttered open, unfocused at first, then widening with recognition. "Commander," he whispered, voice raw. "Save your strength," Alice said. "You're safe now." "No." Sam grabbed her arm with surprising strength. "None of us are safe. They're coming for all of us." "Who?" Alice asked. "Who did this?" "They called themselves the Void-Born Conclave." Sam's voice shook. "Said humans were an aberration, a species that should never have reached the stars." He coughed, and a medical technician moved to stabilize him. "They said we were contaminating space itself." Alice exchanged glances with the doctor. "Is there recording, anything we can analyze?" Sam nodded weakly. "I was on duty when they arrived. I captured everything and hid the data core before they breached the command center." His hand trembled as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small metallic cube. "It's all here. Their ships, their weapons, their message." Alice took the cube carefully. "You did good, Peterson. Really good. They're not like us, Commander." Sam's eyes began to close as the sedatives took effect. "They're not like anything we've ever seen." "Rest now," Alice said. "We'll handle it from here." Back in the command center of the rescue vessel, Alice inserted the data cube into the main console. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the approach of 3 alien ships. They were unlike any vessel Alice had ever seen. Not built, so much as grown, with organic-looking hulls that pulsed with an inner light. The largest ship had opened communications with the colony. The alien that appeared on screen was tall and spindly, with a body structure that seemed crystalline. It spoke in a series of clicking sounds that the colony's translation software struggled to interpret. "Humans," the translation came through, in a flat mechanical voice. "Your presence beyond your birth world violates the natural order. You were not chosen for ascension. You were not guided to the stars as others were. Your technological path is aberrant. Your very thought processes are dangerous. For the safety of all sentient life, you must be contained." The colony leader, a woman named Judy Clark, had tried to reason with them. "We come in peace," she said. "We seek only to learn and explore. We mean no harm to anyone." "Your intentions are irrelevant," the alien responded. "Your capacity for harm is inherent in what you are. Already you have developed technologies along forbidden paths. Already you think in ways that threaten the stability of civilized space." The recording showed Judy standing taller. "We have a right to exist among the stars just as you do." "You have no rights beyond those granted by the Conclave," the alien said. "And the Conclave has judged humanity too dangerous to be permitted further expansion." The communication ended. Moments later, the alien ships opened fire. Alice watched in Silence as the colony's defenses, minimal as they were for a scientific outpost, crumbled in seconds. The buildings collapsed. The emergency shelters were targeted with precision. It wasn't a battle. It was an execution. When the recording ended, the command center remained quiet for several long moments. "Package all of this," Alice finally said. "Priority transmission to Earth Defense Headquarters. Flag it for Admiral Garrison's eyes only." 3 days later, Fleet Admiral Henry Garrison stood in the war room at Earth Defense Headquarters. The ranking officers of humanity's small but growing space fleet filled the seats around the circular table. None of them spoke as the recording from Epsilon played. When it finished, Garrison didn't waste time. "Ladies and gentlemen, as of 800 hours Earth Standard Time today, humanity is at war." "With all due respect, Admiral," said General Paula Rogers, "we're outmatched. Our fleet consists of 26 vessels, most of them designed for exploration or transport. If these Voidborn have the technology we just witnessed, they could wipe us out." "They could try," Garrison replied. His weathered face was calm, but his eyes burned with a cold fire. "But we have something they don't expect." He pressed a button on the console, and the holographic display changed to show a massive ship unlike any in Earth's known fleet. It was sleek and angular, bristling with weapon systems that most of the officers in the room had never seen before. "Project Thunderchild," Garrison said. "Our first and only true deep space battleship." "I thought that was just a rumor," Captain Ben Howard whispered. "It was designed to be a rumor," Garrison replied. "Built in secret piece by piece in the shipyards of Mars and Jupiter. Politicians called it paranoid, a waste of resources. They wanted the funds diverted to colony ships instead." He looked around the room. "Those politicians are silent now." He zoomed in on one section of the ship. "This is the gravitational singularity cannon, a weapon system that, according to everything we've been able to gather about alien civilizations, should be theoretically impossible." "How soon can it be deployed?" Alice asked from her seat near the end of the table. "It's ready now," Garrison said. "And you, Commander Wright, are being promoted to captain. The Thunderchild is yours." Alice felt the weight of every eye in the room. "Sir, there are officers with more experience, but none who have seen the enemy firsthand," Garrison cut her off. "None who understand what we're truly facing." He looked around the table. "We're not just fighting for a colony, or even for Earth. We're fighting for humanity's right to exist among the stars on our own terms." He straightened his uniform. "Prepare your crew, Captain Wright. You launch in 48 hours. In the silence that followed, Alice thought of Sam Peterson and the 3,000 souls of Colony Epsilon. She thought of Earth, vulnerable, despite its defenses. She thought of all human colonies scattered and exposed. "I'll be ready," she said. The Thunderchild would enter the system, and the galaxy would tremble. Captain Alice Wright stood on the bridge of the Thunderchild for the first time. The ship hummed with power beneath her feet. It felt alive, eager, like a predator waiting to be unleashed. Her new uniform still felt stiff against her skin, the captain's bars on her collar heavier than she expected. "Impressive, isn't she?" asked a voice behind her. Alice turned to find a tall man with dark skin and watchful eyes. He wore the insignia of a chief engineer. "Kyle Reeves," he said, extending his hand. "I've been with this ship since they laid the first keel." "Captain Wright," she replied, shaking his hand. "Though I'm still getting used to the title." Kyle nodded. "Word travels fast you were at Epsilon." "I was there after," Alice said. "Not during. That makes all the difference." "Maybe." Kyle walked to one of the control panels and tapped a sequence. The main view screen changed to show a schematic of the ship. "But you saw what these aliens can do. That's why you're here." The schematic zoomed in on a massive cannon that ran through the belly of the ship. "The gravitational singularity cannon," Kyle said with unmistakable pride. "Or as the crew calls it, God's slingshot." Alice studied the display. Admiral Garrison mentioned it, said it should be impossible according to alien technology. "That's the beauty of it." Kyle grinned. We didn't know it was supposed to be impossible. Human scientists worked in isolation from alien influence. We approached the problem from a completely different angle. He pulled up more detailed schematics. The Void-born conclave has been spacefaring for thousands of years. Their technology developed along specific lines with specific rules. But we humans? He shook his head. We're new. We're unpredictable. So this weapon works how exactly? Alice asked. It creates a temporary controlled singularity, basically a small black hole at the target location. It exists for less than a nanosecond, but that's enough to compress and destroy anything caught in its effect radius. Kyle's voice grew serious. It's not just a weapon, Captain. It's a statement. It says humans can do what the established galactic powers think can't be done. The ship's intercom chimed. Captain Wright, please report to the medical bay. Dr. Nash requests your presence. The medical bay was smaller than Alice expected, for a ship this size. Most of the space was taken up by research equipment rather than treatment beds. A slender man with glasses and unruly gray hair looked up from a microscope as she entered. Dr. Alan Nash, he introduced himself. Ship's chief medical officer and xenobiology specialist. You asked to see me, Doctor? Yes. Nash gestured to a sealed container on the lab table. Inside was what appeared to be a crystalline shard. This is a tissue sample from a void-born soldier, recovered from Epsilon. Alice stepped closer. One of them was killed? Colony security managed to get one shot off before they were overwhelmed, Nash explained. This fragment was embedded in a wall, small but enough for us to learn from. He activated a holographic display. Their biology is silicon-based, not carbon like ours. They don't have organs as we understand them. Their entire body functions as a distributed system, meaning they don't have a brain in one location. Their consciousness exists throughout their physical form. Nash adjusted his glasses. But most fascinating is their sensory system. The display showed what looked like tiny crystalline structures. These detect quantum fluctuations we can't even measure. They literally see reality differently than we do. Nash switched the display. But their visual range doesn't include certain wavelengths we can see, particularly in the red spectrum. Alice considered this. So they might have blind spots we could exploit. Precisely. Nash looked pleased. We're strangers to each other in the most fundamental ways. The ship's intercom activated again. Captain to the bridge. We're ready for crew inspection before departure. On the bridge, Alice found her senior officers lined up in formation. Kyle was there along with Nash. A young woman with short blonde hair stepped forward. Lieutenant Olivia Foster, tactical officer. Her salute was crisp, perfect. Next was a tall man with broad shoulders. Greg Winters, communications specialist. One by one, they introduced themselves. Weapons officers, navigation, engineering crew. When they finished, Alice looked at them all. At ease, she said. I won't make a long speech. You all know why. We're here. The Void-born conclave has decided humanity doesn't deserve a place among the stars. They attacked without provocation. They killed without mercy. She walked slowly along the line. Each of you was chosen for this mission because you're the best at what you do. The Thunderchild is the most advanced ship humanity has ever built. Together, we're going to show the conclave that humans aren't so easily dismissed. Alice took her place in the captain's chair. Our mission is clear. We're to proceed to Proxima Centauri, where intelligence indicates the conclave has established a forward base for their planned invasion of Earth. We will assess their strength, gather intelligence, and, if possible, neutralize the threat. She looked at each officer in turn. Make no mistake, we are at war. But this isn't just about survival. This is about humanity's right to forge our own path among the stars. The bridge crew took their stations. Alice felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. Navigation, set course for Proxima Centauri, she ordered. Maximum FTL once we clear Earth orbit. Course laid in, Captain, replied the navigation officer. Communications, send final departure authorization to Earth Defense Command. Greg nodded. Channel open, Captain. Alice took a deep breath. Earth? Defense Command, this is Thunderchild. We are ready for departure and awaiting final authorization. Admiral Garrison's voice came through clear. Thunderchild, this is Defense Command. You are authorized to depart. The hopes of Earth go with you. Acknowledged, Command. Alice signaled to her helmsman. Take us out, steady as she goes. The massive battleship lifted smoothly from its docking cradle. As it rose into the sky, the sunlight caught its hull, making it shine like a rising star. Ticky. Below, Admiral Garrison watched from Defense Headquarters as the Thunderchild cleared Earth's atmosphere. Next to him stood Sam Peterson, the survivor from Epsilon, now recovered enough to stand. Will it be enough? Sam asked quietly. Garrison didn't answer immediately. The Thunderchild is the best we have. Wright is the best captain for the job. But will it be enough? Sam pressed. It has to be, Garrison said simply, because if it's not, there won't be a second chance. In the vastness of space, the Thunderchild accelerated, pushing past the moon's orbit. Then, with a flash of energy, it vanished into FTL drive, heading toward humanity's first true interstellar battle. The journey to Proxima Centauri would take 3 days at maximum FTL. 3 days for the crew to prepare. 3 days for Captain Wright to plan their approach. 3 days before Earth's battleship would enter the system and make the galaxy tremble. The Thunderchild dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. The massive battleship hung in space like a predator watching from the shadows. On the bridge, Captain Alice Wright studied the tactical display with narrowed eyes. Passive, scans only, she ordered. Let's see what's out there before they see us. Lieutenant Olivia Foster nodded from her tactical station. Running scans now, Captain. The crew worked in focused silence. 3 days of travel had given them time to prepare to run drills to become a team. Now, as they entered enemy territory, that preparation would be tested. Scan complete, Olivia announced. Multiple contacts detected. The tactical display lit up. 27 alien vessels arranged in a defensive formation around what appeared to be a massive space station built into an asteroid. My God, whispered Greg Winters from Communications. It's an invasion fleet. Alice studied the formation. That's not just an invasion fleet. It's a staging area. They're gathering their forces here before they hit Earth. Captain, Greg called out. They're broadcasting some kind of signal on all frequencies. Alice nodded to him. Let's hear it. A series of harsh, clicking sounds filled the bridge. Moments later, the translation system processed it. Unidentified. Vessel, you have entered Conclave territory. Identify yourself immediately or be destroyed. Alice turned to the linguist at the communication station. Diana Coleman, what can you tell me about the message? Diana, a woman with dark hair pulled into a tight bun, listened carefully before answering. There's more here than the translation is capturing. The underlying tones, they're dismissive, almost amused. They're laughing at us, Greg added. One ship against their fleet. Alice stood from her chair. Let them laugh. Tactical, what's our weapon status? All conventional weapon systems green, Olivia reported. The GSC is charged and ready, but will only get one shot before it needs to recharge. And their defenses? Standard energy shields on all vessels. The command ship, that larger one at the center of the formation, appears to have enhanced shielding. Alice nodded. Communications. Are they still waiting for our response? Yes, Captain, Greg confirmed. They've repeated the demand twice. Now. What's our response, Captain? Diana asked. Alice's face was calm, determined. No response. That's the point. Let them wonder. She walked to the front of the bridge, looking out at the distant stars. Helm, take us in, 1/4 impulse power. Set course directly for the center of their formation. Captain? The helmsman looked uncertain. You heard me, Ensign. Directly, toward their command ship. As the Thunderchild began to move, Alice returned to her chair. Shields at maximum. Power up all defensive systems, but hold weapons in reserve. The alien fleet began to stir like a disturbed hive. Several smaller vessels broke formation, moving to intercept the lone human ship. They're launching fighter craft, Olivia reported. 30, no, 40 small vessels approaching. Targeting solutions incoming, added the weapons officer. They're painting us with targeting scanners. Alice remained calm. Hold course, let them make the first move. Dr. Nash stepped onto the bridge, moving to stand beside Alice's chair. Captain, I've been analyzing their communications patterns. There's something interesting. This isn't a good time, Doctor. On the contrary, Nash insisted. Their signals show a level of coordination that suggests a hive-like mentality. They're not individual pilots making decisions. They're extensions of a central intelligence. Alice glanced at him. The command ship? Precisely. Cut off the head, and the body falls. The first wave of alien fighters reached firing range. Beams of bright blue energy lashed out, striking the Thunderchild's shields. Shields holding at 95%, Olivia reported. They're testing us. Alice nodded. Let's test back. Weapons? Target the 3 lead fighters with conventional railguns. Fire when ready. The Thunderchild's railguns activated, accelerating tungsten rods to incredible speeds. The projectiles tore through space and hit the alien fighters with devastating accuracy. 3 explosions bloomed in the darkness. Direct hits, Olivia confirmed. Enemy fighters destroyed. The remaining fighters scattered, adopting a more cautious approach. Meanwhile, several larger void-borne vessels began moving forward. They're launching another type of weapon, Olivia reported, her voice tense. Reading biological signatures? They appear to be some kind of living missiles. Fascinating, Dr. Nash commented. They're using genetically engineered organisms as weapons. Fascinating or not, can we stop them? Alice asked sharply. Point defense systems online, Olivia confirmed. Targeting solutions ready. Fire at will. The Thunderchild's defensive lasers activated, targeting the incoming biomissiles. Some exploded, but others adapted their flight paths, evading the defensive fire. 5 biomissiles impact in 10 seconds, Olivia called out. Brace for impact, Alice ordered. The bridge crew gripped their stations as the missiles struck. The ship shuddered violently. Shields down to 60%, Olivia reported. Hull breach on deck 4. Seal that section, Alice ordered. Damage control teams to deck 4. She studied the tactical display. The first exchange had proven they could hurt each other, but the aliens had the advantage of numbers. Captain? Kyle's voice came through the comms. The GSC is ready. We need a clear shot at their command ship. Alice made her decision. Helm, set course 030, Mark 17. Full impulse, take us right over their command ship. That'll put us in the middle of their fleet, the helmsman protested. Exactly where we need to be, Alice replied calmly. Execute. The Thunderchild surged forward, accelerating toward the heart of the alien fleet. More fighters moved to intercept, and the larger vessels began adjusting their positions. They're trying to box us in, Olivia observed. Let them try. Alice stood up. All hands, prepare for close quarters combat. Weapons, target all approaching fighters with conventional weapons. Save the GSC for the command ship. The Thunderchild plunged into the midst of the alien formation. Weapons fire lit up space around them as the human vessel retaliated against its attackers. Shields at 40%, Olivia called out over the noise of impacts. Keep going, Alice ordered. We need a clean shot. The Thunderchild rolled to avoid a collision with a larger alien vessel, then pitched up sharply. For a brief moment, they had a direct line to the void-borne command ship. GSC locked on target, Kyle reported from engineering. Alice stood tall, her voice clear and determined. Fire, the gravitational singularity cannon activated with a subsonic rumble that every crew member felt in their bones. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself appeared to fold around the targeted void-borne command ship. The massive vessel compressed, distorted, and then imploded, consumed by a microscopic black hole that winked out of existence nanoseconds later. Where the command ship had been, there was now only debris and empty space. Silence fell across the Thunderchild's bridge. On the tactical display, the remaining void-borne ships froze in place. They've ceased fire, Olivia reported, her voice barely above a whisper. All, Enemy fighter craft are returning to their carrier vessels, Greg added. Their formation is breaking up. Alice watched as the alien fleet scattered, some vessels jumping immediately to FTL, others retreating to defensive positions near the space station. We did it, Diana said in disbelief. They're running. Not all of them, Greg pointed out. One vessel is approaching, Captain. It's small, possibly a diplomatic shuttle. They're broadcasting a request for communication under a flag of truce. Alice exchanged glances with Dr. Nash, then nodded. Put them through. The alien representative stood in the Thunderchild's conference room. It was tall and spindly, its body structure giving it an unsettling crystalline appearance. The creature moved with careful, precise steps, as if Earth's gravity was slightly uncomfortable. Captain Alice Wright sat across from it with Dr. Nash and Diana Coleman beside her. Diana's translation device was ready to interpret. The alien communicated through a series of light pulses from its crystalline body. Diana's device translated these into audio. I am Emissary Vex of the Voidborn Conclave. The translation came through in a flat, mechanical voice. I speak with the authority of the remaining Conclave forces in this system. I am Captain Alice Wright of the Earth Defense Force, Alice replied. This is Dr. Alan Nash, our xenobiology specialist, and Lieutenant Diana Coleman, our chief linguist. The alien's body pulsed with light patterns. Your weapon should not exist, the translation stated flatly. It violates the fundamental laws of physics as understood by all 9 spacefaring species in the Conclave. Alice sat straighter in her chair. Yet it does exist. How is this possible? The alien asked. Our scientists have studied the fabric of space-time for 12,000 of your years. The gravitational singularity canon should not be possible, according to all established theories. Dr. Nash leaned forward. Perhaps your established theories are incomplete. The alien's crystalline structure shimmered in a way that Diana whispered might indicate agitation or surprise. The Conclave has existed for 12,000 of your years. The alien continued. We have encountered 47 species attempting to reach the stars. Most were guided, some were contained, a few were deemed too dangerous and eliminated. And humans? Alice asked, though she already knew the answer. Humans were categorized among the latter, the alien admitted. Your isolation on your home planet led you to develop technology along paths we never explored. Your thought processes are dangerously unpredictable. Alice exchanged glances with her officers before responding. We didn't ask to be judged by your standards. We didn't ask for your guidance or your permission to explore the stars. We earned our place through our own efforts. That is precisely what concerns the Conclave, the alien replied. Unguided species develop unpredictably. They create technologies without understanding the consequences. They disrupt the balance that has kept our galactic community stable for millennia. You mean they don't follow your rules? Alice challenged. They don't fit into your neat categories. The alien's body pulsed rapidly. The attack on your colony was authorized after your scientists began experimenting with gravitational manipulation. The Conclave feared exactly what you have now created, a weapon that can distort space-time itself. Dr. Nash shook his head. So you attacked us because you were afraid of what we might do? You killed 3,000 innocent people based on a theory? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, the alien stated. Galactic stability must be maintained. Alice stood up, her patience wearing thin. Those few were our people. They had families, dreams, futures. You took that away because of your fear. Not fear, the alien corrected. Prudence. History has shown that unguided species often destroy themselves, and sometimes others, with their unchecked technological development. Alice walked slowly around the table. Let me make something clear, Emissary Vex. Humanity will not be contained. We will not be eliminated. We want peace, but we will defend ourselves. The alien seemed to consider this. The Conclave must reconsider its assessment of humanity. Your weapon has demonstrated capabilities we did not anticipate. What else might you create that we cannot predict? That's the point, Alice said. You can't predict us because we think differently. We see possibilities where you see impossibilities. That doesn't make us a threat unless you make us one. On Earth, Admiral Garrison watched the exchange via quantum entanglement communication. The technology allowed real-time communication despite the distance between star systems. Beside him stood representatives from Earth's government. "She's handling herself well," noted Defense Minister Julia Boyd. "She always does," Garrison replied. His weathered face showed the strain of the past days, but there was pride in his eyes. "What do we do if they refuse to back down?" asked another. "Official. Then we prepare for war," Garrison said simply. "But I don't think it will come to that. They've seen what one Earthship can do. They know we have more." This was a bluff. The Thunderchild was Earth's only vessel of its kind, and the GSC required hours to recharge. But the aliens didn't need to know that. Back on the Thunderchild, the alien emissary had fallen silent. Its crystalline body dimmed, as if in deep thought. "The Conclave has always maintained order through control," it finally said. "Species are guided along approved technological paths. Resources are allocated according to need. Conflicts are resolved through established protocols. And that works for the species you've guided," Alice acknowledged. "But humanity developed in isolation. We forged our own path." "Yes," the alien agreed. "And that is what makes you dangerous. And valuable." Alice raised an eyebrow. "Valuable?" "Your different perspective. Your ability to see beyond established principles." The alien's body pulsed with new patterns. "The Conclave has existed for so long that perhaps we have become rigid in our thinking." Diana leaned closer to Alice. "I think this is going in a positive direction," she whispered. The alien continued, "I will return to the Conclave with a recommendation for reassessment. Humanity should not be classified for elimination, but for potential alliance." "Alliance?" Alice couldn't hide her surprise. "The galaxy is vast. There are threats beyond the Conclave's territories that we have held at bay for millennia. New perspectives may be needed in the times ahead." Alice glanced at Dr. Nash, who nodded slightly. "We would be open to discussing an alliance," Alice said carefully. "But as equals, not as subjects. Earth expects a seat at the galactic table." "That would be unprecedented," the alien replied. "So is our weapon," Alice pointed out. "We specialize in unprecedented." The alien's body flashed in what Diana later suggested might have been the equivalent of a laugh. "I will convey your terms to the Conclave High Council," the emissary said. "Until their decision, I propose a temporary ceasefire. The remaining Conclave vessels will withdraw from this system. We request that you do not advance further into Conclave territory." "Agreed," Alice said. "But know this. If there are any further attacks on human settlements, our response will be immediate and decisive." The alien inclined its crystalline form in what appeared to be a bow. "Understood, Captain Wright. The galaxy has existed in a certain balance for thousands of years. Today that balance has shifted. It would be unwise to pretend otherwise." After the emissary departed, Alice returned to the bridge. Her crew looked at her expectantly. "Well?" Olivia asked. "We've secured a ceasefire," Alice announced, "and possibly opened the door to something more." "They're scared of us," Greg said, with a hint of satisfaction. "No," Alice corrected. "They're reassessing us. There's a difference." She settled into her captain's chair. "Set course for Earth, maximum FTL as soon as we clear the system." As the Thunderchild prepared to depart, Alice looked at the view screen showing the retreating alien vessels. "They called us dangerous," she said quietly. "Maybe we are. But today, that saved us." The human battleship turned away from Proxima Centauri, its mission accomplished. Word would spread throughout the stars. Beware the humans. They make the impossible possible. They bend reality itself to their will. Earth's battleship had entered the system and the galaxy had trembled. Earth celebrated when the Thunderchild returned. Crowds filled the streets of major cities. News screens showed the battleship's approach over and over. Children waved small flags with the ship's image. For the first time since the attack on Epsilon Colony, people felt hope instead of fear. Captain Alice Wright stood uncomfortably in her dress uniform on a stage in Geneva. Behind her were Admiral Garrison, her senior officers, and various government officials. Before her stretched a sea of faces, both in person and on screens broadcasting the ceremony worldwide. The crew of the Thunderchild did not seek glory, she said into the microphone. Her voice was steady despite her dislike of public speaking. We sought only to defend our right to exist among the stars, to show that humanity will not be judged or contained by those who fear our potential. The crowd cheered. Alice waited for them to quiet before continuing. The battle at Proxima Centauri was not the end of this story. It was merely the beginning. The Voidborn Conclave now knows we exist. They know we can defend ourselves, and they know we think differently than they do. She glanced back at Admiral Garrison, who nodded encouragingly. The alien emissary has returned to the Conclave High Council with a proposal for reassessment. They may offer an alliance rather than war, but whatever they decide, Earth stands ready. We will not back down. We will not be erased. After the ceremony, Alice escaped the crowds and found herself in a quiet meeting room with Admiral Garrison and a small group of officials. "Well done, Captain," Garrison said, "both in battle and in diplomacy." "Thank you, sir," Alice replied. "But we got lucky. The GSC worked. They weren't prepared for it. Next time they will be." "That's why there won't be a next time like this," said Defense Minister Boyd. "We're accelerating production of 2 more ships of the Thunderchild class. The plans for 10 more are being finalized." Alice raised an eyebrow. "The resources required for that kind of fleet are being allocated," Garrison finished for her. "The attack on Epsilon changed everything. There are no budget debates now, no political squabbles over military spending. Earth is united in a way I've never seen before." A young aide entered the room and whispered something to Minister Boyd. The minister's eyes widened slightly. "It seems the Conclave has responded faster than expected," Boyd announced. "A delegation has just entered our solar system. They're requesting permission to approach Earth with a diplomatic envoy." "Already?" Alice was surprised. "It's only been 2 weeks since we left Proxima Centauri." "Apparently the matter was considered urgent," Boyd replied. "They've sent a small vessel, 5 representatives including Emissary Vex, whom you've already met." Garrison looked thoughtful. "This could be good or bad. Either they've decided quickly in our favor or they're coming to deliver an ultimatum," Alice finished. "Either way, we need to be ready," Garrison said. "Captain Wright, I want you present at the meeting. You've dealt with them before. You'll notice things others might miss." 3 days later, Alice found herself in Earth's newly constructed Galactic Relations Center. The circular chamber had been built specifically for meetings with alien species, with adjustable gravity, atmosphere, and lighting to accommodate different biological needs. The Voidborn delegates entered with careful, measured steps. Emissary. Vex led the group, its crystalline body catching the light as it moved. 4 other aliens followed, each slightly different in color and structure. Earth's representatives rose to greet them. President Maria Rivera led the human delegation, with Admiral Garrison, Defense Minister Boyd, and several other high-ranking officials beside her. Alice stood slightly behind Garrison, observing carefully. "Welcome to Earth," President Rivera said. "We are honored to host representatives of the Voidborn Conclave." Diana Coleman translated the president's words into light patterns for the aliens. Emissary Vex responded with pulses of light that Diana translated back. "We bring greetings from the High Council of the Conclave," came the translation, "and a decision regarding humanity's place in the galactic community." The room grew tense. Alice noticed Kyle and Olivia, also invited to the meeting, exchange worried glances. "The High Council has considered the events at Proxima Centauri," Vex continued. "We have analyzed your weapon technology. We have studied your cultural and scientific development. We have debated extensively whether humanity represents a threat or an opportunity." President Rivera remained composed. "And what conclusion have you reached?" "The Conclave has existed for 12,000 years, Vex replied. "In that time we have guided 47 species to the stars. We have contained 12. We have eliminated 5 that posed existential threats to galactic stability. Alice felt her muscles tense, ready for bad news. Humanity is unlike any species we have encountered, Vex said. You developed in isolation. You created technologies our scientists deemed impossible. You think in ways that are unpredictable to us. Vex moved closer to the human delegation. The High Council has created a new category specifically for humanity. Potential ally. The tension in the room broke. Several officials exhaled audibly in relief. We wish to propose a treaty, Vex continued. Not of submission, but of mutual respect and exchange. Humanity will be granted autonomy over its own development. In return, we ask for collaboration on certain technological and scientific fronts. And, Epsilon Colony? Alice asked before she could stop herself. All eyes turned to her. An error, Vex acknowledged. A decision made in fear and ignorance. The Conclave offers reparations and a formal apology to the families of those lost. President Rivera nodded. We will consider your proposal carefully. This represents a significant moment in human history. In galactic history as well, Vex added. The Conclave has never before altered its classification system, never before admitted that its understanding of the universe might be incomplete. After the meeting, Alice found herself standing with Admiral Garrison on a balcony overlooking the cityscape. Do you think they're sincere? She asked. Garrison considered the question. I think they're pragmatic. They saw what one Earth ship could do. They don't want to face a fleet of them. Fear isn't the best foundation for an alliance, Alice pointed out. No, Garrison agreed. But respect is, and I think they genuinely respect what they've seen of us so far. Not just our technology, but our thinking, our approach to problems. Looked up at the stars becoming visible in the evening sky. For thousands of years, they've been the undisputed guides of galactic development. Now they've met a species that took a completely different path and succeeded. That changes everything they thought they knew. Alice thought about the Thunder Child, now docked in orbit, undergoing repairs and upgrades. She thought about the crew, some still recovering from injuries sustained in battle. She thought about Sam Peterson and the other survivors of Epsilon Colony. So what happens now? She asked. Now we take our place among the stars, Garrison said simply. Not as students or supplicants, but as equals. Earth's battleship entered their system, and the galaxy trembled. Now they're coming to us with offers of alliance. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Whatever comes next, Captain, we've earned our right to be part of it. The night sky deepened above them. Somewhere up there, the Voidborn delegation was considering humanity's potential. Somewhere further, the High Council awaited their report. And beyond that, countless stars waited for human exploration. The galaxy had trembled. Now it would adapt to humanity's presence. And Alice Wright, who had seen both the worst and best of this first contact, would help guide Earth's steps into this new era. A new age had begun.